Hello, Travis here. You might be wondering why I'm starting in this Google Doc. If you were following my Factorio Space Age playthrough, but in order to kind of get this episode rolling, I've kind of went with a different starting point. In the last episode, we built out our mall supplies for our building our next base, which involves building out rail automation, assemblers, all sorts of modules. Well, actually, I didn't do that on. I did the modules off camera, but and since we have construction robots, we were able to accelerate the construction of said base. But I kind of bring up this 90 signs per minute for the base game sciences. What do I mean by that? I wanted to take a quick 5 minutes to kind of talk about what that entails. Um, so what do I mean by 90 SPM? Why 90? What is the signs per minute? And kind of go over on paper, you don't really need to set science per minute goals. Um, and you just need to kind of have stuff moving. Uh, that's kind of how we've been rolling so far in this playthrough. But that is about to change with this episode. Um, it's worth noting that science per minute in the Factorio community has different meanings, but in the context of what I'm talking about, it's the amount of science packs produced from your cumulative assemblers per minute. That being said, the reason why I'm transitioning to a specific science production is because the technology researches only go up and up, and they therefore become harder to efficiently churn through. Therefore, setting science per minute goals after the first few sciences in the game allows you to get through the game faster, get to the fun stuff. Why 90 SPM? There's no real good answer. You could 30, 45, even 60 signs per minute is anything, but 90% is a good baseline that kind of defines the mid game, as it trivializes a lot of the research grind in that period. And as we get more, build more labs and get productivity productivity upgrades, this increases the value of our 90 signs per minute. And of course, we can improve on this later when we go to the other planets and then get their special buildings. How do we calculate SPM? Sorry, I'm going to turn that down a little bit, just so. Alright, there's kind of two ways. I'll show you once we get to the game, I'll show how this works, but you don't have to use a third-party tool or mod to calculate your proper buildings for signs per minute, because the tooltip when you set recipes in the assembler gives you might have noticed in the past, but I'll show it later. It gives a input and output per second, and in order to take that into I believe you have to divide by 60 to get items per minute. Hopefully I'm not bad at math. However, as you're going to see, a lot of these numbers really don't add up to very good numbers. especially when we get into chance-based crafting with nuclear processing and scrap processing. So it gets a bit of a headache to do on hand, but there are a bunch of tools that we can do to help calculate what we need for 90 SPM, more or less. And the tool that I'm going to be showcasing is Factorio Lab. I'll leave a link to the website. This isn't mine, but it's just a really cool tool. You got all these. You got these are basically a Factorio calculator. So you kind of plug all your stuff you want in. You can also add like inputs and output, and it kind of breaks it down, breaks this, breaks it the recipes down in a way that makes it easy to say, oh, I need 30 green circuit assemblers if I want to make all of this. And I'll kind of some of this might be wondering why I have these specifically right here. I'll kind of explain to it as I build it out. Now a lot of this is fairly complicated, and before I started recording, I did make some notes to help me break this down further. But no, this is a helpful tool that this is basically my plan for building the next base. Alright, with that, why don't we hop into the game, and I can kind of show you. So, I'll see, if you see on the right, it will show every, if you put in 1.5 copper plates a second, you get free copper cable out. Yeah, so that's kind of like one of the examples. One of the examples where, and the reason why this gets a little bit redonkulous later is, as you can see, uranium doesn't exactly give the same thing every time. And we'll cover uranium mining closer to when we get to launching to space. Alright. So yeah, I haven't done a whole lot. I did push for some stack inserter. The one thing I have built is this right here. Basically, we're gonna need a ton of modules, and I'm starting to utilize the quality modules in an attempt to roll for higher quality modules. I'm not gonna be particularly successful quickly, given quality modules only give I only have a 2% chance to get a higher quality thing. You know, but any case that I get a better module, it will be displaced into these other chests. And one thing I forgot to talk about with the quality modules is the downside to in order to get better quality, you lose a bit of speed. With speed modules, you gain a bunch of speed, but you lose a bit of quality. So there is a bit of a trade-off there. Anyway, so in order to kick off our conquest, and by the way, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter episode. I know I had two big, longer ones, and the last one wasn't. Episode probably isn't going to be a super interesting watch. We're going to be beginning to plan out the next, because as you saw, because while it did seem like it was a bit of a daunting task for my Factorio lab calculator, it's actually not like red, green, and potentially even blue science are dumb. Like that, they're like the least problematic parts of my. And it's only when we get into purple science and blue circuits and flying robot frames that things get a bit tricky. Nevertheless, we are still going to alright. You might notice these small biter camps that pop up every now and then. Those are biter expansions. As you might know, I'm playing on default biter settings, and part of that entails dealing with fun fact, undergrounds aren't technically a building, so you can drive over them like belts. Oh my god. Get back in my car, bots. Alright. They're pretty low evolution, so they won't be expanding all that much. You might be wondering, why am I talking about moving trains when I have these two giant piles of things? Well, for reasons why, I'll explain why I had the blue circuits or processing units and flying robot flames on the scene, but not yellow science. The third component of yellow science is a low density structure. It requires three things: steel, copper, and plastic. There's another thing that we'll eventually be needing in large quantities that also requires this. So I'm going to reserve these two patches for this particular use. Nevertheless, I'm going to dissuade biters from by dropping a few gun turrets down there. There's a few ways to dissuade biters from expanding. This is just one of them. They're not like settling next to alright. Besides radars, which is like the passive way of loading in chunks, actually going out into the field and exploring like this is a oh, and as you can see, we've passed we're into medium biter territory. That is a medium biter, and the thing about medium biters is yellow ammo is functionally useless against them. They take a ton of fortunately, red armor piercing ammo tends to make mincemeat out of the biters. Why did it switch to? I'll fix my hotbar in a hot second. Alright. How are you not dead? Alright, that should clear up that. I'm kind of anticipating, kind of trying to map out this area. I'm sure there's stuff in the south and east that isn't, but due to natural barriers and choke points, I don't intend on immediately being like. There's ways to get trains through with the power of gates. Alright. We're starting to see a lot of cliffs. Cliffs are a menace to society or a natural blessing, depending on who you ask. And where they are, they end up. It's a nest of only worms. I'm not sure what to think. That's gotta be a bit careful because if I drive too fast, I'll just drive head fast into like a massive biter like that. These are the perils of expanding. The biter nests eventually get really, really big. think I might take out this nest. Definitely make use of this iron patch, although I'll have to see how much and this copper pitch is definitely worth utilizing. Although to be fair, still have a ton of, we barely hit the surface of being raw. Our iron ore patch looks incredibly sad. We have plenty of coal as well. Okay, I think I found a new okay, we gotta start making of a decent, although we're sitting on quite a bit of stone. I'm betting I could probably get away with belting in copper stone if I really need it. And then I can run rails for the trains. This is just me. I haven't really explored a whole lot of the map, although I'm really liking this. I'm kind of 2 for 2 on random generated seeds lately. I'm probably gonna have to landfill a little bit of this, but I probably don't need like that tiny bit of a. I'm liking, let me see, there's probably some biters up there. Stop touching my stuff. Alright, I'm thinking I might as well get rid of those as we don't really need. I'm thinking we can this is just me if there's a way to copy paste I would I would. There probably is a way to do this faster, but we use these clef generations to our advantage. Though generally speaking, you kind of want to make it as close to a box as possible. Inverted corners tend to kind of suck donkey balls, if you know what I mean. I want to encapsulate this nuclear patch because having nuclear this close to the base, I'm thinking we can probably make the new base like right here. Easy access to water here and here. The pollution will be an issue, but by the time we have our walls fully constructed, we shouldn't be in huge trouble. So kind of and perhaps this is a bit over ambitious, but honestly, it's better than my genius 3 million stone landfill project that I built on my last save. I've joked in the past in this series about having a special relationship with landfill. It's because I decided to make a random decided to just start playing C block instead of Factorio. I mean, it looked kind of cool, but it was completely unnecessary. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I'll have to get rid of that nest. become realistically speaking, this amount of space is probably overkill, even for my plans. But the less I have to worry about dealing with biter expansions, the better. Inevitably, even mega patches like this, although 7.8 million is quite a bit, this will last us a pretty long time. Let's go right next to it. I could just, the potential for me to just create a iron and steel outpost here and then shift everything, and that's certainly an idea that I'll have to consider. I'm gonna probably call it yeah, the nests start getting a bit crazy out here. But they're still pretty weak biters and spawn. Medium biters are not super difficult to deal with, especially since we have armor piercing. It's the worms that are going to be a pain in the butt, but yeah. And I think that's going to be about it. I know we didn't do a whole lot this episode, but planning for the future is a big part of Factorio. If you don't plan for the future, and while we're at, let's see how our yeah, I'm not surprised. We don't have a huge lot of red circuit production either. Yeah, we need a lot of modules, at least for my calculations. Yeah, so yeah, we have plans for the future. Also got to see do a bit of a biter cleanup and kind of see what we have to what we're up against. And next episode, I'll probably start taking advantage of some of these iron and coal thing. Start creating like outposts or resources, and maybe even get some rails down. Won't be firing up a vent because we have to do some more biter cleanup, and these biter bases won't be easy to chew through, but it'll be doable. And like I said, if you I hope that this episode was more informative than entertaining. But if you still found it entertaining, feel like feel free to leave a like. Have any questions or concerns, so leave a comment. And if you want to see more Factorio Space Age, hit the subscribe button and follow my playlist. And I will see you next time.